Okay, there is this supposed trans woman that makes a habit of going on Twitter and filming themselves in public while masturbating, specifically in women's spaces like women's bathrooms. You know, your favorite turf lesbian bigot had to call this shit out. The scary thing about this all isn't the fact that it's happening or the fact that we said it would happen. It is the very simple fact that just me commenting on this is going to get me a ton of hate from the far left and from the woke trans ideology, gender crazy, you know who I'm talking about. Even though there is literal proof of this person being a creep, trans woman or not. I mean, pretty much the entire video posted to this person's Twitter shows something that I cannot show on here, but I promise you it's there. Before I get more into this topic, if you are not subscribed to my channel, make sure to do that right now. Go and click the subscribe button down below so you don't miss any controversial conversations that we have here. Let's check the hashtags on this person's tweets, by the way. TS, hashtag trans, hashtag femboy, hashtag femboy, hashtag trap, hashtag, don't want to say that word because I hate it because I'm a lesbian, hashtag girl dick, hate saying that word too, hashtag girl cock, public flesh. Trans woman with gender dysphoria or not, your ass is getting called out. Or your dick is getting called out, either way. Ugh. As a lesbian who is no longer a part of the far left because of things like this, let me just say publicly, and I have said this before, I did not sign up for any of this. I did not sign up for 97 genders. I am not okay with trans people getting away with shit like this because they are seen as oppressed.
Excuse me, ma'am. No porn at the bar.
Oh, it's okay. I'm transgender.
Oh, I had no idea. Do whatever you want all the time.
Equality is exactly that. It is being treated and seen as equals. Not better, not worse. Just for reference, this is just one of the things that starts to happen when we treat even just some of the population as better than. The example being claiming to be trans or actually being trans and getting preferred or special treatment because of that fact. By the way, did you know that about half of the male prisoner population that claim to be transgender are actually sex offenders? Yeah, it's not a surprise to us, but you know. Ava, take these to pasture.
We now have stats from the United Kingdom, the United States, and even from the current super woke far left Canadian government showing that about 50% of men in prison who identify as transgender are sex offenders. This is several times higher than the general male prison population, and it puts radical gender activists in a bind. Are trans women more likely to be sex offenders, or are sex offenders more likely to claim a transgender identity to have an easier time in prison? Either way, it's vulnerable women who lose by getting served up on a platter to deranged sexual predators.
And before people come at me saying, Ariel, this never happens, it is happening. It has happened. It's literally past, present, and it's going to continue to happen in the future if we don't stop this. Rapist guilty of attacking woman before gender change. Rape monster who targeted female victims demands being moved to women's prison. And the crazy thing is we still have politicians fighting for this sort of thing to keep happening. Meanwhile, more and more shit keeps coming out. Pun intended in this case. Do you remember Leah Thomas? The transgender swimmer who competed in a series of women's college events, destroying world records, I think only like a year after being on hormones. Well, Leah has recently come under fire for blatant disregard for women's comfort in the locker room.
I was in the locker room, obviously putting my suit on, and all of a sudden it got dead silent. I turn around, this person's towering over every other person in the locker room, drops the clothes, full male, like a fully intact male with male genitalia. Am I not grasping something? Why is no one talking about this? Why is a coach not sticking up for us? Why is someone within the NCAA, why were we not warned? We did not give our consent for this.
And yes, this does all matter.
Let me be clear. We were not forewarned. We were not asked for our consent, and we did not give our consent. If nothing else, I hope you can truly see how this is a violation of our privacy and how some of us have felt uncomfortable, awkward, embarrassed, and even traumatized by this experience.
Here's what my friend Sarah, an actual trans woman with common sense, had to say about this.
So I've actually been attacked for simply admitting that I used the ladies' room. But the thing is, I only use those spaces where that's the rules. I would never demand access to a space like this person is doing. I believe it's the business's right to make the rules within their private property, not something government should dictate either way. And I will happily use a third space if that's available. In this case, it is 100% the business's right to make the choice to keep trans women out.
Here's another one. A 17-year-old girl teared up as she told Santee City Council that she saw a nude male in the women's women's locker room at the YMCA. Listen to this poor girl's story.
When I asked the YMCA management what their policy was regarding transgenders, they confirmed that the man that I saw was indeed allowed to shower wherever he pleased. As long as you are not a red flag on Megan's Law, the California Sex Offender Registry, a grown male can shower alongside a teenage girl at your YMCA location here in Santee. I was made to feel as though I had done something wrong when I talked to people at the YMCA. Somehow, the indecent exposure of a male to a female minor was an inconvenience to them.
I mean, maybe just don't shower in a women's public place if you have a penis. Maybe young women are in the right here. And just because this said person isn't a red flag yet, doesn't mean that giving them the opportunity to potentially be is a good thing. Now, the question I have for you guys this week is very interesting. My question is, do you think autogynephilia is on the rise? Forget about actual trans women that have gender dysphoria. Forget about creepy men who are male, who are simply using the trans get out of jail free card, or trans being transferred to a women's prison, get out of men's prisons. I can't even say it. It's so confusing card. I'm actually talking about an entirely different issue here. I've done a video about this before in the past, but just to catch you up, autogynephilia is a term coined by a Canadian doctor that basically means a male who is turned on by the idea of himself being a woman. It's a fetish. It is maybe a sexual orientation. Jordan Peterson actually has a really good take on this.
They often talk about AGP or autogynephilia, which is like I don't know if you're familiar with,
Autogynephilia is the fantasy. It's a sexual fantasy generally. It often characterizes men who become transsexual and start cross-dressing later in life. They develop sexual arousal from picturing themselves or acting out being the opposite sex. I think a lot of what happens to these men who develop these sexual fetishes later in life is that there is a part of them that's crying out for exploration of and development of their feminine side. But instead of having that happen psychologically and starting to integrate, let's say, compassion and care and concern for people rather than things, instead of integrating those cross-sexual proclivities, they start to act it out as if it's a concrete reality.
There's also a fantastic video of a young kid speaking out about his experience with this all. But yeah, we are seeing this more and more. Cross-dressing and turn-ons being seen as or being confused for being the same thing as transgender. There was a story recently about a 21-year-old who had his testicles removed because he said the idea of him being a woman turned him on. And what a lot of these people are experiencing is that after their testicles are removed, they no longer have that testosterone in their body that was driving them to have that sexual orientation or fetish in the first place. And then they regret their decision to have the surgery. Some dating profiles that I came across recently. Tonio, 48 years old, who literally has in this person's profile, it says, I am a biological male, assigned male at birth, / trans female lesbian, seeking a woman that doesn't want or need a man. Literally the person that's saying this has not transitioned at all. It doesn't look like they've transitioned at all, and has the audacity to say, even though that this person looks and physically, basically is everything a man is, has the audacity to say that he doesn't want someone that's a lesbian that wants a man, is the point of being a lesbian, I thought, but okay. The replies on this tweet, by the way, have me dying. Somebody said, I love her scarf, so feminine. It's like you can barely tell she was or is a biological male. Is the attracted to a woman with a degree in psychology a reference to how he needs a partner who can do mental gymnastics? Love that. Somebody else said, when in middle school, my buddies and I would make a stupid, immature joke and say, oh, we love girls, we must be lesbians. Yeah, like I literally made a video on YouTube maybe 6 years ago making a joke about that very thing, how men say that they're lesbians. And that was a comedy video back then and reality now. They said, apparently this is now an acceptable thing for some men. Apparently. Look at this new study from the CDC. I found this very interesting. And it's not that I trust them, of course, but I've also been seeing this happen in real time over the past, 2-3 years. So I know that this is true because I've seen it happen. CDC says teen girls are caught in an extreme wave of sadness and violence. A new report finds an overwhelming wave of violence and trauma and never before seen levels of hopelessness and suicidal thoughts among high school students in the United States. Could this insane increase be maybe because of gender ideology? Confusing the absolute out of young women. It says here that nearly 1 in 3, which is like 30-35%, seriously created attempting suicide, which is up 60% from 10 years ago, which is absolutely insane. Young women are also experiencing a more sexual violence, or at least coming out about experiencing more sexual violence in the last year. It's gone up about 20% since 2017. I mean, maybe it's all because they're being told that they're bigots and pieces of shit for not feeling safe in their own schools, in their own locker rooms, in their own bathrooms, in their own bodies. And they feel targeted as a sex class. I mean, look at this type of shit.
I got 40 million other things to worry about before it comes to you and what makes you feel uncomfortable. And I'm not gonna stop being an activist for your sake, to make you feel comfortable, to make you and every other quote unquote female feel comfortable. Because in all honesty, I don't give a fuck.
First step in being a woman, at least in society, besides doing your best to look the part, is respecting other women. Knowing that we need to be protected in some ways that men don't. As a leftist would say, your male privilege is showing. Maybe, just maybe, young women are suicidal because of validation being the cure for unchecked mental health issues. Maybe, just maybe, it's because of far left-wing media and basically every other social media site making it seem like it's okay to call violence against females, or basically anybody who believes in science and biology. Just a few things to think about from your favorite lesbian TERF. We're gonna go with that. Your favorite lesbian. Listen, I have accepted. If this is what it means to be a TERF, then so be it. Other than that, I will see you guys back here in a few days with a brand new video. If you are not subscribed already, make sure you do that right now, and I'll see you guys then. Bye.